Hi, I'm Jim Jonas. I'm the Director of Strategic Communications and Public Affairs for the City of Wichita, Kansas. Here to talk a little bit about what my job is and how I got to it, and see if anyone has any interest in it. Uh, I started with the City of Wichita in March of 2020, actually on the same day that we had the COVID outbreak called and were forced to shut down the city and city government and get all city employees and government employees back home, since we just did not understand what was going on with COVID at the time. So it was one heck of a way to start a new job, was on day one to be told, hey Jim, figure out how we're going to communicate to not only city employees but to the entire city what the shutdown would look like and who was responsible for what and how we were going to get our way through this. I had been in the strategic communications and public affairs side of the world for a long time, primarily private sector, not in government. Little stints here and there. I worked for the University of Colorado in Boulder for the all four campuses for a couple of years. Then worked in a lot of corporate communications roles, U.S. West and then Quest. And then as a consultant, worked for lots of companies like T-Mobile and Seattle, national company T-Mobile, and Cargill and First Data and DaVita, number of good size companies that we were able to provide a range of corporate communication support and consulting for those folks across the full spectrum, from internal communications to investor relations, to media relations. We handled the whole range of those. My background, though, was in politics and political reform. I got the bug for campaigns. I thought it would be that I'd go to work and go to D.C. and work on Capitol Hill and then maybe go to law school and go that traditional route. But I was really super enthusiastically um, energized by political campaign work. I moved to Nashville. Uh, Started work for Lamar. We were way back in the pack. Nobody thought we had a chance. We ended up finishing second in Iowa primaries and third in New Hampshire, and the money dried up, and Lamar didn't make it the whole way. But we were largely credited with running the best campaign in the primary to come from zero way back in the pack to being a legitimate contender. And had Lamar finished second in New Hampshire, I'm convinced that he would have gone on to win that nomination to run against Bill Clinton in '96. Moving on from that, I went back to D.C. I started a consulting company and worked the rest of that cycle, but was really becoming less than enthusiastic about where partisan politics was going. I really wanted to try something totally different. I went out and wanted to do more public affairs direct work. Doug Bailey, who he and I dreamt up this idea of a unity ticket for president and vice president, of one Republican, one Democrat, in an effort to put together a competitive team that could get ballot access and run against the Republicans and Democrats as a new way of thinking about politics that didn't start with partisanship first, but started with what is best for the country, to get ballot access and then to run and win the White House, to really drive politics back to the center where it should be. And really became hyper focused on nonpartisan election reform in all its forms. And so I was a co-founder of a group called the National Association of Nonpartisan Reformers, that was an umbrella association of election reformers from across the country, and was introduced to Wichita when I had worked as campaign manager and chief consultant for an independent who was running for the United States Senate in Kansas. Now here I am, run a staff of about 10 direct reports, but I have another 10 who are dotted line responsibility to me. So have a good overview of what the city is talking about and how we talk to residents and how we let residents know what services and facilities their city can provide to them. I'm also in charge of public affairs work, which really focuses on lobbying. So both lobbying in Washington D.C. And in Topeka. So is going forward how we build agendas, what's most important for the city from a state legislative position and from a federal government positioning. And there's myriad of things that are happening every single day of where we're competing for federal dollars and for state dollars to help the city grow and thrive.